Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the final segment of the planning and booking your Walt Disney World vacation series, and today is going to be planning your day at Animal Kingdom. So if you haven't watched the rest of the series, which includes booking your holiday, choosing where to go on which day, including Disney parks and including days to go to other parks or stay at the hotel, go to the beach, all that kind of thing, and then all the other 3 parks as well, then make sure to go and check them out. I will link them above so you can find them easily at the end of this video. And let's get into it. There are a lot of things in the other videos which I'm not going to go over again today, since I have said them a few times in the other videos, which includes fast-passing and booking your meals, but I'll just quickly go over that you need to get the My Disney Experience app if you haven't already got it, and that is where you can go over everything that you need to do, and you can book your meals from 180 days before your vacation, and you can book your fast passes from 60 days before your vacation if you're staying on site, and it includes your full vacation. If you're staying off site, you can book your fast passes from 30 days before, and it only releases them one day at a time. So the way the fast passes work is the same as at Hollywood Studios and Epcot, where there are 2 tiers. You can pick 1 fast pass from tier 1 and 2 fast passes from tier 2. Just bear in mind, I will go through which rides are in which tier and what I would recommend to go on, but as they create new rides and different things change, the tiers can change, and my recommendation will definitely change depending on what rides come and go. So let's get straight into tier 1. There are only 2 rides in tier 1 at Animal Kingdom, which are Avatar Flight of Passage and the Navi River Journey, which is also in Pandora. I would 100% say go for Flight of Passage if you only have 1 day at Animal Kingdom. The Navi River Journey, if you head there as soon as the park opens, especially if you go for extra magic hours, which I will be mentioning later, you can easily get on this ride with maybe half an hour or even less queue if you're fast about it. Whereas Flight of Passage, if you go at park opening, you can queue for 2-3 hours still, even though this ride has been there for quite a long time. So if you can possibly get a fast pass for Flight of Passage, that is the one you will go for in tier 1. Something to bear in mind if you're staying on site, try and book this for one of the latest days in your vacation, because as I mentioned, people staying off site can only unlock 1 day at a time. So if you're staying for maybe 2 weeks, you will have a lot less people that you are competing against to get that fast pass. But obviously if you're planning to head to Animal Kingdom more than once, then you can pick 1 for each day, or if you'd really like to, you could get Flight of Passage twice. Moving straight on to tier 2, there are quite a lot of rides in tier 2 and shows and different experiences, and I will go through all of those and which ones I would recommend for you to choose in which circumstances. Remember, you can choose 2 from this tier. So there are Kilimanjaro safaris, where I would definitely recommend choosing this. It doesn't always get a massive queue, it can be sometimes half an hour. Expedition Everest can get a really long queue. That's probably my top choice for fast passing in tier 2. You could queue 2 hours or even longer on a really busy day. So definitely pick Expedition Everest if you are into roller coasters. Next is Dinosaur. I would say this is kind of in the same category as Kilimanjaro safaris. I will show you in a little bit how to find out what the rides are like so you can decide which ones to pick. But basically, if you like the sound of Dinosaur, again, I would pick it. You can get sometimes up to an hour or more queue, but if you go at the right time, especially if you go early in the morning, you can get on it in literally 5 minutes. So it all depends on what your preferences are. Next is Kali River Rapids. Now, we seem to never hardly visit in the summer. I think I've only actually been twice in the summer. We usually go in January or February. So I've only actually been on this twice, and I have no idea what the queues are like, but possibly if it's a hot summer's day, if you're going in the middle of August, then you probably want to fast pass this one. If it's obviously in the winter, maybe avoid this one because I'm pretty sure you get quite wet, and I'm pretty sure actually at the moment, well, everything's shut right now, but for the past few months I think it's been shut for refurbishment anyway. Next is Primeval World. This one I would just recommend queuing up for. It can get a decently long queue of maybe half an hour, but if you go at the right time, I wouldn't use up a fast pass on this one. Another thing to note about it is that it's closed seasonally, so I'm pretty sure it might only be like November, December, January or something like that. It will tell you online, but it's not open all year round, so just bear that in mind. Next is Rivers of Light, which is the nighttime spectacular, which is fairly new. I mean, it's probably been there for like 2 years now. It's a nice little show. I wouldn't definitely fast pass it. There are usually 2 showings of this because it's seated, there's limited capacity. I will be going over it a bit more later, but if you really like the idea of this, go for it. You can always get it with your extra fast pass. as once you've used up your 3 fast passes you can then get another, and since it's quite late at night it would be ideal to go for this one as your extra fast pass. You can get as many as you want once you've used them up, so you can use your 3 fast passes. Once they're all gone you can get another, use that up, then you can get another, etc. until the end of the day. And then the rest of them I would say probably don't fast pass unless you're really keen for that specific one. So there is It's Tough to Be a Bug, The Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo the Musical, Adventures Outpost Character Greeting, Up a Great Bird Adventure, which apparently we hate. I don't actually remember watching it, but every time we go I'm like to my mum, oh, are we gonna go and watch that? And she's like, no, it's rubbish, don't go. I think it's basically like a live bird show and it has some other creatures in it, so if you really like birds and things like that, go watch it. I'm pretty sure it has Russell and Doug. I might even have Kevin in it from the Up movie, but apparently it's not that great, so definitely don't waste a fast pass on it. And then the last one is the animation experience at Conservation Station. Now if you saw my most recent Animal Kingdom vlog, which is the one where I nearly had to go into hospital and all of that, we randomly decided to fast pass this. We had no idea what it was, we'd not been on it before. I think it's fairly new, and basically you go on like a little train ride which you don't really have to queue for because it's never busy, and then on the other end there's like a building, there's different things to look at, there's also a children's playground, and there is this thing called the animation experience where you go in and there is a specific drawing and they basically teach you how to draw it. I'll put a little clip in here, but if you want to, go check out the vlog. I will link it above as it shows you the whole process of me drawing it. Now bear in mind I cannot draw, and it actually turned out half decent. It wasn't amazing, but it's better than I ever thought it would have been, so I would definitely recommend going to check that out. But you don't really need a fast pass for it because there's only maybe 100 seats, maybe even less than that, in the whole kind of theatre. So there's not really much need for a fast pass for that one. And also if you fast pass you are then tied down to a specific show. That goes for all of the shows, whereas if you just decide to turn up, go a little bit early for when the show is. I'll talk about when the shows are and the programme in a little while, but basically it means you can go to any throughout the day. Also with the animation experience they do change which character it is. Now I'm not 100% sure on how you find this out, but I reckon if you head there in the morning you could ask them for what the pictures are that they will be drawing throughout the day, and then you could pick which one you like if you're really into drawing. So as I said before, once you've used up your 3 fast passes you can then get another one. Now what we learned on our most recent trip, which was in February, that at 1 minute past every hour they release cancelled fast passes. So if for example I had a fast pass for something at Animal Kingdom but I then decided that day I actually wanted to go to Hollywood Studios, then I would cancel that fast pass so that I could re-fast pass them at Hollywood Studios. So basically at 1 minute past the hour they re-release those fast passes that have been cancelled, and sometimes you can get some really good ones. You just have to make sure you go on at that time, as you might get what you want if it wasn't there before. So before I move on, I'm sorry to the people that have heard this a million times now, but I have just opened an Instagram account which is linked to my YouTube channel. It has all Disney content and there will be future giveaways going on there. So please head over and give me a follow. I will be following a few people back. It is _Lauren.Rachel_ and I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. And let's carry on with the video. So, planning out for the rest of your day. If you head to disneyworld.disney.go.com, I will put it up on the screen so you can see it. This is the official website and this will show you everything there is to do at Animal Kingdom, including rides, attractions, shows and restaurants. If you go to all attractions, parks and tickets and then Animal Kingdom, it will come up with a giant list. I have gone through in one of my other videos like this how to actually do that on the screen, but I'm not going to do it again. But basically it brings you up a giant list of all the things there are to do. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it shows you all the things that are closed or temporarily being refurbished or anything like that, just so that you know what is and isn't there at the specific time you're visiting. You can put your dates in at the top of the screen, and you can also see what the restaurants are and all those different kinds of things, which is really useful. So once you've done that, you can start to kind of put things together a little bit more. You've already kind of picked what fast passes you want, which things you want to do, and you can kind of start penciling it in. Another thing you need to consider is whether you're going to go for extra magic hours. Now I always advise to go to extra magic hours, But for the moment, as Hollywood Studios is going on, if you need to prioritize Hollywood Studios, you can get a Rise of the Resistance boarding group or anything like that, or you really want to go on Millennium Falcon but you have limited days, then extra magic hours isn't the most important thing. But obviously if you do head for extra magic hours, you can pretty much get Navi River Journey, Dinosaur, and maybe even a couple of other things done within that time while the parks are less busy. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you will want to check the programme out so that you can see what times these specific shows, especially including the Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo the Musical, and Rivers of Light are at. But the programme doesn't actually come out until the previous week before your visit. But if you check the current programme, say you're visiting in a month's time, if you check the current programme, even if it's your 60 days for your fast pass, it will give you a vague idea of what it will be like, how many shows there might be, and different things like that. As I say, it won't be exact, but it will give you a really good idea. So definitely check that out. You can also find that on the Walt Disney World website. Now, I'm not guaranteeing this every single night, but I'm pretty sure Rivers of Light has 2 showings most of the time. And I would advise, if you are able to stay the whole time until the park actually closes, to choose one or the other show time and try and get rides done while the other show is on, rather than either going for dinner or something like that, because it will shorten queues as a lot of people will be in the show. Now, you do need to make sure you turn up for the show at least half an hour early, if not more. Like, sometimes we end up going 2 hours early so we can get the best seat and we just sit and chill. Sometimes we'll take food with us or something like that, and it's actually a really nice time just to sit, chat about our day, and like do different things like that. But if you pick to go for the later show, that will be a really good time to get on a lot of the rides, as a lot of people that are traveling with children, if you are traveling with children, then obviously you can choose to do this too, will go for the earlier show so that they can leave and go home. So if your party is a little bit older, you have no really super young children, you could make the most of this, go on the rides while the first showing is on and then go and watch the second showing, or you could head for the first showing and then a lot of people will leave the park after the first showing and you can make the most of going on all the rides and different things while the second showing is on. But remember, the other shows will finish a lot earlier than this. For example, the Festival of the Lion King and Finding Nemo the Musical, they shut around 5 o'clock, maybe even earlier, so just make sure you schedule them in for earlier in your day. And again, for those, you do need to show up early, because if the auditorium is full, they won't let you in. You'll have to wait for the following show, which may be an hour or 2 later. Now, how much time to leave for each ride? Obviously, this completely depends on the time of year you're going, the day of the week, and all those different things. But basically, some of the rides do get quite big queues, so I would say leave at least an hour, if not more, for each ride. There are also some attractions that aren't rides as such. For example, the Planet Watch trail thing. Basically, there's different walks you can go on to see animals. We never go on them because I'm not really an animal person. But you can obviously leave time for those. They will show up in the all attractions on the Walt Disney World website too. And a really good feature on the My Disney Experience app, which we found on our trip in January, is basically they have maps in the park. So say you're standing by Expedition Everest and you want to get to Pandora, you can put in on your map exactly where you would like to go, for example, Navi River Journey, and press enter and it will show you the route, how long it will take you to walk there, and it will basically show you where to go, and it's super easy. Since Animal Kingdom is the biggest park, it is definitely easy to get lost in there. I have been so many times and I still cannot navigate my way around. Now, that doesn't say much because I have basically no bearings at all, but it is very hard to get lost, especially if it's the first time you're visiting. So that is a really useful feature. It was actually funny the way we found it. So I was with my grandma and she goes to me, wouldn't it be good if you could get maps in the park and it would tell you where to go? And then she literally looked on there and 5 minutes later she was like, it already exists. They literally read her mind. So it is really good though, and it can save you a lot of time of wandering around in circles. That feature can also show you, for example, where the fuel rod machines are and restrooms and all those different things. It will show you where anything that you want to know in the park is, which is super useful. I have been meaning to put that in every single video and I keep forgetting, so I've finally done it now, and you can use this in all of the parks. It's not only that park, so that is awesome. Before I move on to my last few tips and tricks, I just want to remind you all that I do upload videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at 7 PM UK time. If you are enjoying this video, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And let's get on to our final few tips and tricks. So obviously you need to leave time for food, and if you have dining reservations, make sure you leave time for those too. Leave some time for a lot of shopping and also just wandering around and soaking up the atmosphere, especially in Pandora. It is really, really nice just to wander around there, especially at night. Everything is UV light, it is luminescent, it is literally as if you're in Pandora. It is awesome. And another thing to say is that Animal Kingdom is really far from the rest of the parks, obviously because it takes up such a big landmass, because they have to accommodate for all the animals and those different things. So I would say you would probably want to stay in this park all day rather than bouncing about between the different parks if you do happen to have a park hopper pass. But there are enough things definitely to occupy you for the full day to do rope drop to fireworks if you can cope with that. Obviously you could come in a little bit later, or you could head home after the first Rivers of Light show, but if you can cope with the full day, it is definitely worth staying that long, and there is so much to do. There are the street performances as well. There is a lot going on in Pandora and throughout the rest of the park as well. There's stuff going on in Africa. They usually have like drumming and dancing shows, and it's just so much fun to join in with that, especially if you have younger children that would really enjoy those types of things. So that is where I'm going to leave this video. Please give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye!